Again, we look at the value systems that we have: generosity, caring for our people. We have to be able to work out things as a group rather than individuals. I found out from early life you cannot make it singly. Before I got married, I came back and didn't have a job, so I relied on commodities. But I get a little box there, it'd be a can of beans, half a cheese, so I'd get that. When I got married and had family, then those multiplied in 4 boxes. So as a group, you get not only quality but quantity of food there. So we know if you work in as a group with mutual sharing, then you'll get ahead. And that's where we have to drive the economy that way. And we can make changes too, because I noticed that through all the years that we're living on a reservation in Mission, South Dakota, which is a shopping center for most of our people go there. I used to go down there and bargain for a can of beans for serving a family of 3. And eventually, because my family numbered about 6 or 7, we needed more cans. So the Bowie store came up with those bigger cans. And then for power, it was a big one, gallon can. So now we changed it because we're able to impact the economy. So we used to go down and order maybe a pound of hamburger to feed 6 of us. It was not enough. So the packs, I noticed, got bigger. So we can make those changes if we set our minds to doing that, but we're not. We're sitting there batting over other issues that are coming. So economy is one of the important things, and we need to reform the family first before we get to that. Once we reform the family, then they know how to operate the economy. And our economy has to be able to solve the problem of the non-Indian way, in our way. Because sharing and generosity is a standard. And if you hoard things, the people will turn their backs on you. If you get a large amount of money and put it in a bank and your relatives come with nothing, you expect to share with them. You don't. They turn your backs on you. I learned that from experience by trying to run there and get money and just turn away when they come for money. They cut me off a while, so I realized I came back and I gave, but it's a mutual, like I said, they have to give back, So so that way you share and make it work in the systems. We got a long way to go because we have to figure out how to make a living off the land, and the family structure has to be improved, and then the economy will go well. So it's always the idea of sharing, giving, and making sure everybody's taken care of. And that's one of our leaders, generosity, played a large role in his life. A man by the name of Little Thunder, Chief Little Thunder. When the people came to him, the strangers would come and look for the chief. And he noticed that everybody's going to this one teepee. And when they leave, the door was greasy. That meant that people got food, and when he came out, they opened it, and that it meant the guy was generous because he had a greasy door. So people knew that the highest value, and that's what he did. The highest value is he taught Spottail that. We're still trying to figure a way how Spottail and how he was able to take care of his relatives and non-relatives. The government, when the oil came, they funded us for a lot of programs, and they did not want nepotism in there. In the Teospai Society, relatives took care of each other, but with the band system, how Spottail did, we have to learn how to do that. That's a problem for the tribal council because a lot of self-interest in there. So that's what the values are learning, and it boiled down to the values. So economy has to work within our site as well as the non-Indian. Maybe teach them a few things, as they come down, and that's why one of the biggest things that I realized that our Teospai was the center of this. It still wasn't broken, although the government pretty well fixed it well. It kind of broke apart, but it began to band back together. But they're trying to realize, trying to figure out why we have this 90% unemployment and why there's low income rate. So you guys should be technically dead, but it's the relatives that go and they share. the Jewish part is still there. It's begin to, a nucleus is always there to bring in the ones that share, and that's why we survive, you know. All these years that I finally realized that I'm in the center of my family, we're the nucleus where all of our grandchildren and the sons that come to us when they need things. Well, we ensure that they use it for what it's supposed to. A lot of them don't do it, so we don't give them the help that they need, and always take care of them as long as we live. And as long as they continue to build on their values, that's a good thing. But we've got a long way to go on that. But that's what we teach at the university, those things. And sometimes it goes on one year out the other. So we're trying to make it the block inside. And it's a tough goal, but I think that's one of the dreams that we have. And but I believe we're beginning to barely pull it together. And I think in the future it looks pretty good for us.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there any final comment or anything you'd like to?
Well, just the idea that we live in a changing world. And even our old tradition also talks about that. They talk about every 7 generation, the longest extended system, the 7 generations. That 7 generations, you must have a change. You must not go back to you have to continue changing, evolving. If we don't, then we surely do we'll live a stagnant life. And our scientists will surely die. So never forgot that. What said that we live for this 4 generations, 7 generations, which is the extended. And realize how come we have 7 generations. It's because the oldest grandfather is 72 years old that they know of now. So 7 is the 4 generation, the longer extended generation. And 40 years is a family system. So that's quite a distance. So you have to change in 70 years, begin a change. In the next 6 generations of 70 years, you have to have that complete change at the end, which it's about 250 years, I think, is the entire. In the non-Indian world, you have to change real fast. It's a dynamic world that you live in, and they change rapidly. So trends last for maybe 4 years, 5 years, and they move on, whereas we still build on a lot of that. So, but that's what I want to say, that we're looking at the long term. We're looking at how our people can learn these and begin to reform and change those systems. So in that way, as I lived a long life, all the experience I had trying to teach that to a younger generation, and mainly with my family, be able to get them to understand what we're trying to do, and be able to build on that, and only then will we survive as a people.